What's up, everybody? Early week edition of College Sports Now. First show of 2026. So belated Happy New Year to you and yours. Roddy Jones, ACC Network, ESPN, ABC, Sirius XM, with us. And when I say with us, I mean just me, Tripp Hurd, battling the stomach bug. Breaking news on a Tuesday morning. Tripp, Lock Doc, feel better, buddy, because you got games coming up on Thursday and Friday. Hopefully you're able to make it to the window in time to give us some winners. Roddy, good morning to you. And shout out to Montana State, champions of college football. I will raise my hand. Sorry, FCS. I did not watch any of Montana State and Illinois State. Did you, Hot Rod?
No, but only because I forgot. I forgot that it was on, to be honest with you. But I fully intended to watch it. And when I woke up this morning and saw the highlights of the crazy ending, I was mad that I didn't watch it. So here's what I'm going to do, Steven. I'm going to go back and watch it. I've got it recorded on the YouTube TV. Yeah. I am going to take it in all of its glory and give it the just due that it deserves. And I am disappointed in you because you're wearing your JMU hat.
That's right. Let's go Dukes. Look at that.
You are a product. You are a product of the FCS. Now you're flouting your CFP. I saw you popping off on social media too this weekend, which, like, dude, what are we doing? What are you doing? What am I doing? What are you doing on social media? Blowouts, but JMU can't. Let's get the group of five, but the blowouts. What are we doing? Was there a specific social media post that you would like to analyze here? Because I am happy. I was sober when I was posting on New Year's Day. I am happy to revisit any of those social media posts. I just found it interesting. And by the way, what about the narrative? There was that one. Worst performance in the history of CFP, but sure, let's get more outraged by G5 teams being involved.
I mean, Texas Tech put up 0 points.
Retweeting a Stephen Godfrey, another blowout shutout. When will we get rid of the G5 programs? JMU racked up 34 points and over 500 yards against this Oregon team, but all the ball knowers told me that it didn't count. Just
Again,
popping off.
Spot the lie, okay? Where spot the inconsistency.
Like, I don't know who you're arguing with in this stuff. Like, I don't.
Anybody.
This is the point of Twitter. You're just you're tweeting these things to make you feel better.
Stir
the pot for your
Stirring it up, baby. Stirring it up. Listen, Roddy, you have ascended. To the mountaintop of college sports talk radio, okay? You do a great job on Sirius XM. You do a great job on the ACC channel. You know what this is about this time of the year. It's all about getting the clicks. It's all about getting folks fired up. Phone lines are open, everybody. Give us a shout. And all I'm saying is that Texas Tech put up a whopping nothing burger against this mighty Oregon defense. I just thought it was interesting because everything you told me about Oregon's previous college football playoff game was that it didn't matter. You also told me that Dan Lanning and them boys shut it down in the second half because they quote, didn't care, and yet this is the same Dan Lanning team that decided with about 20 seconds left, you know what? Go ahead and run it in from 2 yards out. Let's rack up another tutty on them Red Raiders. I just found it interesting. That's all. Just found it interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure you could find a lot of those results throughout the season. Like, pick a team and their performance against a team that they literally don't respect versus a team in conference that they shut out. I mean, I could pull up, just name it. I want you to name a team. Just name a random team across the country, a power team with a brand.
Wake Forest.
That's not a brand.
A brand. Okay. We'll stay in the ACC. How about Clemson?
Golly, Jesus Christ. A good one. How about that? A good team with a brand. Not
Georgia.
a 6-7 team.
Georgia.
All right.
Okay.
Just give me a second. I'll look up
Georgia. Is this where we revisit the Georgia who did they play? They don't cover non-conference games against inferior opposition.
Why is that, Steve?
Because Kirby Smart's like, you know what? I want to work on our zone read today. I want to work on getting our wide receivers involved. I want to work on something. I don't care about the score. I don't care about the margin. Like the Marshall game, for example.
Has nothing to do with the players.
Look, I'm not. It's not apples to apples, Roddy. I know you want it to be apples to apples, but I would argue.
I'm just saying these results happen all the time.
Yes, they do.
Didn't happen to Georgia this year. This breaks down my example.
Although
Georgia allowed 2 more points to Georgia Tech than it did to Marshall.
Yeah,
Marshall 2 points worse than Georgia Tech. That's it. Put them in the playoff.
Put them in the play. Look, I'm not doing that with you. This is a college football playoff recap show. We will recap the quarterfinals. If you've been sleeping under a rock, there are 4 teams remaining. 3 of the 4 have never won a national championship in college football. I find that cool. I find that exciting. I think that's good for the sport. Timeout? We're calling a timeout here?
Are you going to count the national championship that Ole Miss claims but was not actually an AP national championship?
That's not a national championship. I mean,
so which one are you counting? Oh, Miami
has been to the top of the college football world. Indiana, absolutely not. Oregon, close, but no. They ran into Cam Newton. By the way, were you?
They also made it in 14. They ran into Ohio State.
Yes, they did. I remember that. Yes, you're right. I remember the Cam Newton game more so. But yes, you're right. They did run into Ohio State in 14. Indiana obviously has never been there, and Ole Miss, despite a decent history, has never won a national championship outright. Legitimately, I know SEC teams like to claim national championships from time to time.
Love to see this decent Ole Miss history.
I want to start there, Roddy Jones. We are going to recap these quarterfinals in reverse chronological order. So that means we start with the Sugar Bowl. And look, I know you've been doing this. I know you've emptied the clip on your takes the last couple of days on SiriusXM, but you have not seen my takes, sir. You have not gotten a taste of what I'm cooking with, despite my social media posts, as you referenced earlier.
Oh, I got a taste.
Ole Miss 39, Georgia 34. Okay, I think, and I know that I don't want to be prisoner to the moment here, but I would argue Ole Miss, Georgia, Sugar Bowl, one of the best college football playoff games that I've experienced in my lifetime at the ripe age of 42 years old. I know we haven't been doing college football playoff games for very long. Was this Georgia-Oklahoma Rose Bowl from 2018? No, but it was pretty damn close, man. This was an awesome game. Shout out to Sean McDonough, who was on the call with Greg McElroy on ESPN. That dude was in his bag. I think he actually elevated that game because he was so good as a broadcaster. It helps when Trinidad Chambliss is running around making magic happen. But I thought it was a tremendous game. Ole Miss gets the win, and you live in the state of Georgia. I can only imagine what the talk radio scene's been like there for the last 72 hours because folks are down bad, as they should be. Georgia misses a shot at advancing in the CFP. They've won back-to-back SEC championships, but have done nothing beyond that in the postseason the last 2 years, which I think is significant. So what did you make of Ole Miss and Georgia in the Sugar Bowl?
Yeah, I actually don't know what the local talk has been. I've not, nowadays you have to go out of your way to get the radio takes.
Really? All you gotta do is get in your car, but that's fine. It's okay. It's fine. Just bury the AM FM radio. It's fine. It's okay. It's totally fine.
I think you underestimate the amount of time I'm in a car. First and foremost, especially during
Bro, you live in the suburbs of Atlanta. You're in your car for hours at a time, big dog.
Dude, no? I think you could add up my car time outside of driving to the airport. I think you could add up my car time the last 2 weeks, and I don't know that it would equal an hour. Everything. That's the thing. It's the misnomer about the suburbs of Atlanta is that you have to drive a lot. I don't drive to work. That's where most people drive. So, dude, everything that I have is in a 10-minute radius from me. Everything. The girls' school, 10-minute radius. This grocery store, 10-minute radius. Home Depot, 10-minute radius. Target. I got 3 Targets within 10 minutes.
You're a Home Depot guy? You're an orange vest guy? I'm a Lowe's guy myself. Blue vest guy. I'm over here.
See, I'm born and raised in Atlanta, and I am true to this city. So, yes, I am a Home Depot guy. You, born and raised in Atlanta, sold out. You probably fly American, too.
No, stop there. I'm going to stop you right there, big dog. I have flown American because it is a Charlotte hub.
You'll probably drink Pepsi.
I'm off that drug. And quite frankly, Arthur Blank's doing just fine. He doesn't need any more of my money. And considering some of the decisions he's made with Atlanta Pro Sports franchise that he owns, maybe he needs a little less money. Maybe we need to pull the reins back on the Home Depot acquisitions and purchases. But anyway, you're not driving around. You're not listening to talk radio. I think the story here.
I'm sure they're freaking out. I'm sure they're freaking out.
They should be.
Georgia hasn't won a national. They should not be. They're fine. Georgia's fine. They have not won a national championship in the last 3 years now. Boo-hoo. You made it to multiple college football playoffs. You're okay. In terms of the game. The thing is, you got beat by a dude who played out of his mind. It's one of the all-time performances that we've ever seen in the college football playoff period in the history of the sport. at least recent history of the sport. Like, I cannot think of a guy putting a team on his back at that position as much as that dude did in that moment when they needed him, because they were down 9 going into the fourth quarter. It was the opposite of what happened in Athens, and Trinidad Chambliss was awesome. So 2 receivers over 100 yards in Harrison Wallace III and Dejon Stribling. You had Kewan Lacey, that's really timely conversions and catches. The big scramble that Trinidad Chambliss has where he flips it out to Lacey. Lacey catches it. It's like a 3rd and 5. Lacey catches it a yard short, gets whopped, stays on his feet, and then gets the first down. Like, I just think that whole performance. And then in the second half, Georgia was 0 for 7 on 3rd downs in the second half. And they were 2 for 3 on 4th downs. But 2 for 7 on conversions. That's pretty damn good, man, especially for an Ole Miss defense that was much maligned throughout most of the season. So it was an awesome game. It was an awesome performance. I agree with you. Like, I thought Greg and Sean were all over it. Sean was feeling himself too. Like, and good for him, because he was on it. But it was great. You know, it was a great game. The fact that Georgia fans are going to say, "Hey, look, we've been to the Sugar Bowl twice. We lost both of them. We had a bye. All that stuff." I feel like that's a little bit disingenuous to the story, because that Georgia team last year went in with a Gunnar Stockton that was making his first start. Carson Beck hurts his elbow. Like, that was you throw anybody in that situation with their backup quarterback, and it's going to be a struggle. In this one, you met a team that might be a team of destiny. Should that be acceptable to Georgia? No, it shouldn't. Like, they should aspire to more. But, like, sometimes that's how ball works, man. You just run into a team that on that day has a great day. And Georgia didn't play poorly. They could have played better, but they didn't play poorly. So I don't think Georgia fans should be freaking out. Disappointed, sure, but not freaking out. You're still SEC champion.
I know you're a stats guy, okay, Roddy? I know you like to crunch the numbers. A couple of notable streaks that ended in the Sugar Bowl from the Georgia perspective. 75 straight wins when leading in the fourth quarter.
Saw that. Yeah, saw that one.
Ended. 53 straight wins when leading at halftime. Ended. You're right about Trinidad Chambliss. That dude was levitating. 30 of 46, 362, 2 touchdowns. Also, obviously, ran the ball. Completed 13 straight passes at one point. And we're not talking about, like, easy passes. We're talking about, like, rolling out to his right, throwing the ball 40 yards downfield. I mean, this was high degree of difficulty stuff from Trinidad Chambliss, who, by the way, and I don't want to turn this into the transfer portal show. I don't want to turn this into the fall 2026 preview. But Trinidad Chambliss is currently petitioning to get another year of eligibility from the NCAA, which I understand is currently closed, or maybe they're coming back from winter break. But he is petitioning. He is going the Diego Pavia route, trying to get an extra year of eligibility. And if that happens, watch out. Like, this dude, I'm not saying it's going to happen at Ole Miss. It could happen at LSU. Obviously, we know about the coaching situation there.
No, he is committed. He is committed to Ole Miss.
He is committed.
Yes.
So that happened in the last day or two?
Or? Yes. Okay. Yesterday, right. I believe it came out that pending his approval, he has signed a new contract with Ole Miss. So he will be back in Oxford if he's back
signed on the line that is dotted. Okay. Mm-hmm. Good to know. If he's allowed to come back to school. I think Ole Miss is obviously the story. There is an interesting Georgia angle here. I'm not saying that the sky is falling in Athens. That's not what I'm saying. I think if Nate Frazier hadn't gotten injured, late third quarter, early fourth quarter, that dude was ripping Ole Miss apart. Guy was getting like 6-7 yards per carry. Given the late game situations, right? Red zone stuff late in the game, you're down 3. I don't know, man. I just, that's football, right? Like, that happens. But Ole Miss played out of their mind. I was told, Roddy, that the percentage inside New Orleans for this game, the Superdome, was like 70-30 Ole Miss. That's what I was told. Yeah. I was not on the ground.
I'd heard going into it that it was going to be much heavier Ole Miss than Georgia.
Yeah, it felt that way watching it on TV. So obviously Ole Miss advances. They get the U. We'll talk about Miami a little bit later. That is the first game of the slate this week. Thursday, Friday. Plan accordingly, folks. College football is like, we do not want to go toe-to-toe with the NFL during Wild Card weekend. So we are playing college football semifinals on Thursday night in Glendale, Arizona, and Friday night in Atlanta. Roddy, you doing anything in your backyard for the Peach Bowl?
Yes, I'm actually going to both semifinals. So
we are working. Big dog.
We are working this thing.
Okay, in what capacity?
So mostly ACC Network stuff out at the Fiesta Bowl. That was a late ad. But mostly ACC Network stuff. I might pop on some other stuff. I'm hoping to be honest with you. And then at the Peach Bowl, doing college football live leading up to the game. We got an hour live show, and then possibly Sports Center stuff around that, and then pre and post with SiriusXM. So I'm pulling double duty, wearing two hats.
Let's go. Well, you'll be wearing a suit is what you're going to be wearing.
Yes, I will be.
And no hats. They're putting you on TV. That means suit game, maybe a tie clip, no glasses.
Yep.
No glasses.
Nope.
You popping the contacts in these days or what, big dog?
I actually don't know. I don't need these glasses unless I'm reading stuff for a long time. And when I'm sitting at my computer, it makes the computer screen look better. But I don't need them. Like I don't wear contacts.
Just grinding, just absolutely grinding. Good for you, man. Good for you. I love that. Anything else on Ole Miss Georgia? Because I would like to move on to another game and discuss a little recap out west. But anything else?
I do think it's worth mentioning. Like Ole Miss is losing more coaches.
5 is my understanding, right? 5 more coaches.
I don't know the official number. I think so. So Charlie Weiss Jr. was in the number at one point. Now he's out of the number, and there's been some debate about one of the assistants. They're losing a number greater than 0 coaches. And so, to me, this whole Ole Miss run has been sort of overshadowed by the Lane Kiffin of it all. And as much as Lane says he's happy for Ole Miss and he's happy for these players, he is not happy enough to sacrifice anything on his end or very little on his end. Because he could do the right thing. And the right thing would be to say, hey, look, I know I need these coaches, but we'll be okay. Like I can manage all the stuff that we need to do without it. So you guys go coach. You guys go help them win a championship. But that would be possibly hurting Lane and his future. And, he'll hide behind the contracts and all that. But he could do the right thing here, which is to let those guys go coach, finish the run out. And I'm glad Charlie Weiss has stood up to it. Like Charlie Weiss said, hey, look, if you don't let me coach these guys, I'm going to stay at Ole Miss. This is the right thing to do. And Charlie Weiss is the only coach that I've seen that's confirmed to be staying with Ole Miss through this run, staying in Oxford through this run amongst the offensive coaches. I don't blame the coaches. I don't, because there was no guarantee that they were going to be retained at Ole Miss anyway, especially like the running backs coach, the wide receivers, like those guys. No guarantee that they were going to be retained at Ole Miss. So you go, number one, they're probably getting paid more to LSU. But number two, you go where the job security is. That is this industry. And so I don't blame the coaches for saying, hey, look, I got to look out for my family.
Right.
Like if it's a maybe you're going to keep me here and a yes, he's going to keep me there, I have to go. Plus, I am a Lane guy. I don't want to have to relearn everything. And LSU is paying me more money. Like I don't blame the coaches. I blame the people in charge. And in this case, I blame Lane Kiffin. Like if Ole Miss, we don't know how it's going to affect them. But if it affects Ole Miss and they lose this game and they don't win a national championship because they're missing 5 more coaches, I blame Lane. I do. So they're an easy team to root for because of the Lane of it all. And Lane, I think, if you're paying attention, has made LSU and himself less likable than they were before.
I mean, bravo for saying that. First of all, I think that's an important distinction to make. Is these position coaches, the staff that Lane is building around himself in Baton Rouge, which is all the Ole Miss personnel, offensively, those are the people that are not making $11 million. No,
those people are making good money, but they are not rich.
Right.
Like Charlie Weiss is probably making $1 million, so he could afford it. But the running backs coach, I mean, look. No one's going to cry over a guy making $600,000, which is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of what he's making, somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million. It's a lot of money. It is not enough money to not work.
Right.
Like you still got to work at that amount of money, especially if you're living any sort of life that is upper middle class. You may have a little bit put away, but it ain't enough to not work for a couple of years. So,
to your point, that's where the job is. Like you go now or the door is going to close. And so that's why, and I look, as much as I as much as I claim to not watch ESPN, I do turn the volume up when I see you in studio because I want to hear what Hot Rod has to say. You and Dusty Dvorak were in studio over the weekend doing like January 2nd work, I believe, when they had those last round of bowl games. You said something about Lane Kiffin specifically, and I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along the lines of Lane Kiffin saying all the right things publicly, right? Correct. But behind the scenes, and the end quote, saying all the right things publicly. He's tweeting the flags of Trinidad when they're playing. Like, cool, great. But behind the scenes, and this is where I struggle because I'm like, dude, it's January 6th. Yes, it is January 6th, but it's it's early January, man. You don't need these guys.
Is this, by the way?
Doesn't matter. You don't need these guys, right? Like if you're out trying to recruit and get guys, you're the portal king. Like, come on, man, just do your job. Let these dudes try to win a natty at Ole Miss, because that is the right thing to do. But Lane Kiffin's not about doing the right thing, as we've learned.
Well, look, he's saying all the right things publicly, and I did go on in that thing, and I said, but it what it looks like is behind the scenes he is about himself and his program, which, like, do I completely blame him for? No, but I mean, when you say all the right things, happy for Ole Miss, I'm proud of this team, they deserve it, they this, they that, and then you take their coaches, or you let the rumor persist that you're going to be at the Sugar Bowl with the governor. He heard that rumor. He also heard the rumor that he was trying to get on ESPN. Look, if it's not a rumor, then there's no reason to dissuade it. But all of that stuff was floated. All of that stuff was out there, and there's no doubt that if it was not true, he knew about it, and he could have put it away. And if it is true, then he is actively trying to sabotage or at least distract or keep the attention on him during this process, because there's no reason for him to be at that game if he has any awareness of, like, hey, this is what's best for the team. What's best for the team is that I don't show up. I stay out of the light. I am completely removed from this. And, like, you just look at how other people have left jobs. Like, John Summerall donated $1 million to Tulane on the way out.
Yes.
And his quote was, "This is a championship team, and I want to come back with this team and celebrate it at the anniversaries and all of that." Like, that's had Lane Kiffin handled this the right way, there would have been some bad blood, there would have been some bad feelings, but it would have healed. Like, people would have forgotten. Not forgotten because he's going to LSU, but, like, people would have forgiven at some point. Hey, I'm going out. All my coaches are going to stay. I let them know early. There was no drama on the way up. I didn't leave you guys hanging. Like, we did this the right way. Then I think people would have understood, all right, he's going to LSU. That sucks, and we hate him for it. But, like, that would have healed over time. Like, I mean, hell, LSU doesn't hold Saban's Bama stint against him. Now, there was the Dolphins in between, but like, there was a way that was the Dolphins do, and because it wasn't handled the right way. But like, there was a way that thing went. I just think that the shame of it is that Lane will never be seen positively for producing the greatest season in the history of not only that school, but that state, the biggest game in the history of that state. And he's going to be the villain through all of it. So,
yeah. And, look, man, it remains to be seen what LSU looks like on the field, obviously, under Lane Kiffin. But Ole Miss, Kejuan Lacey's coming back to school. As you mentioned, Trinidad Chambliss trying to come back if the NCAA will allow it. Pete Golding's going to have a squad for Ole Miss on the field in 2026. And Lane Kiffin, yes, you did miss out on one Brendan Sorsby. Tough. He's chasing the bag. He's going to Lubbock to play for Texas Tech.
Here in the back end of that pursuit was interesting, man, because the numbers are big and the treatment is significant. Like, if people knew how these things went down, man, it would open some eyes.
Well, educate us. Well, I mean, he's reportedly $5 million to go to Texas Tech for Brendan Sorsby for 1 year, one season.
I can't tell as much as I know. I've heard from a very reliable source that it is north of that. Now, some of that may be incentives and stuff like that, but I've heard it's closer to 6. It's actually, I've heard it's north of 6. And a lot of that doesn't include the amenities that come with support of there are also some amenities that are provided to those guys, you know, travel for parents, things on the back end that helps make their lives a little more cushy. And the fact that Texas Tech might not have been the high offer. Like, there were other schools in the realm, in that area, trying to get him. I don't know exactly who. My guess is LSU. Miami was probably in the running there too. He never took a trip to Miami. I think they were a latecomer. But yeah, man, like this stuff happens fast and it trickles down. Like Sam Leavitt had a trip planned to Texas Tech that had to get canceled because Sorsby was the number one guy and Sorsby committed. So like, cancel the PJ. You know, Leavitt's got to go somewhere else.
Right.
That sort of deal, man. Like it's pretty crazy how this stuff happens.
Is Sorsby worth $6 million a year?
Depends on what he provides. If he wins him a national championship, hell yeah.
Come on now, let's pump the brakes. I mean, Texas Tech. Well, we'll get to the Red Raiders a little bit, but I promised that we'd go in reverse chronological order. We'll get there. You got shut out against Oregon, the Mighty Ducks defense. We're going in reverse chronological order. You've heard the Sugar Bowl recap.
With a different quarterback, did they get shut out?
I mean, yeah.
Baron Morton was bad.
Baron Morton looked pretty rough.
He threw 2 picks into the end zone.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he looked rough, bro. He looked rough. Oregon clearly was not concerned.
There's an argument to be made that they're in that game with a different quarterback. Like, maybe. Legit.
I mean, Mitch Griffiths is there. What are we doing? I mean, get him off the bench. Let's go. Go Deeks. Shout out to the Deeks. 9 wins, by the way. You love to see it. Tremendous story.
First ACC coach in history to be dumped in Mayo.
Yes, that's true, and he got his whole family involved, which was nice. I mean, it's the family that gets mayoed together stays together. That's what they say.
All right,
reverse chronological order. We're going to the granddaddy of them all.
Did you see the number on this game?
Massive number. What, 24 mil? Something like that?
23.9 or something. Yeah.
Let's round. We're gonna round it up, Hot Rod. We're gonna round it 23.9. I'm gonna just go ahead and say 24. Okay. Yes, massive number. Massive number tuning in for what would end up being a very lopsided game. Now, longtime listeners of this show know that Roddy and I had a spirited disagreement about what this game was going to look like before toe met leather in Pasadena. Roddy, I've got some sound queued up. Would you be okay? With your permission, I'd like to play
Love to hear this.
Just a couple minutes worth of what went down late in 2025. Enjoy. I have a theory on this game. I'm just going to throw it out there. You tell me if I'm crazy. I think the Hoosiers are going to beat the hell out of Alabama in this game. I don't think this is good. I don't think this is competitive. I don't.
Why? Why don't you think this is competitive? Do you think Alabama sucks?
I think Alabama is smoke and mirrors. I think they are a helmet. I think they are a brand.
Kalon Black is back in the lineup. Here's the snap back to Fernando. Has time rolling over the middle. He's got Becker. Oh, what a catch! Charlie Becker! Touchdown, Indiana! Tremendous throw by Fernando Mendoza, but what a catch by Becker, who had to leap and pull it in.
My boldest take of this show, and maybe of the year, because we only got 2 days left in the year, is that Indiana is going to win this game by 3 scores.
Oh, wow.
That's it. I'm putting it out there. And Roddy, I see the
Go, Roddy. Go!
The distaste, just the overall, just, like, you're disgusted by this take.
It's just reckless. It's just reckless. It just is. Like, it's disrespectful and it's reckless is what it is.
Kimby in the backfield now with Fernando Mendoza. Takes the snap. Fernando looks left, fires it down the field. He's got Surratt. Touchdown! What a perfect throw by Fernando. 24 yards, and Indiana scores again.
Fernando Mendoza raised the Heisman Trophy. Everybody is celebrating how great a season this team has had. That typically does not go well for teams that are not used to it.
Here's the snap. Handoff goes to Kalon. Fights his way through it, and he breaks the tackle. Down to the 5. Oh, what a run! Touchdown! Kalon Black explodes through the middle and breaks a tackle or two on his way to the end zone.
So I don't know why all of a sudden they're going to play a good team and blow them out when all anyone has been telling this team the last month is how awesome they are. Oh, you're so good. You guys are the number 1 seed. You can say all you want about Curt Cignetti, and I will tell you about human psychology.
It feels like Alabama, it's just strange to see. They're just existing. They're just out there. Nobody's penetrating. Nobody's playing with any fire. it's almost like they feel defeated. Like there's nothing we can do. Nobody's making an impact player, not even trying to hands on their hips. They're just kind of out there.
Alabama is hearing people like you talk like this for 2 weeks.
No one cares what I have to say.
Ty Simpson just came out and said no one thought we were going to make the playoff. Freaking Alabama. Right. It's the Kirby Smart thing. Like, everybody doubted us. But this time everybody actually is, because people are saying reckless stuff like that to you.
3 scores.
Or like you did.
3 scores.
It's ridiculous, Stephen. That is reckless.
We get Indiana by 20.
There is no way that Deontay Lawson, was it Dijon Lee? Like, there's no way that they let this happen.
Alabama being humiliated by this Indiana
this
team.
Is embarrassing.
I could have gone longer, buddy.
I bet.
I that could have been a 10-minute montage. 38-3 was the final score. I shorted Indiana 2 scores in the margin. I said they'd win by 3. They won by 5. And Roddy, there was very little editing involved there. I mean, that's not me going artificial intelligence on the sound bites.
Represented what was said very well. That was well done by you. You deserve to take your victory lap because you ended up being right. I'm not going to celebrate you. Congratulations. I'll give you that. The take was reckless. It was a reckless take. Here's where I was wrong. Doubting the psychology of Indiana, that's where I was wrong. Overestimating the psychology of Alabama, that's where I was wrong. The take is reckless. It was reckless. And I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to back off from that just because you were right. Everybody's right. A blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
I'm the blind squirrel here. That's your apology.
You were absolutely the blind squirrel.
Unbelievable.
I mean, volume shooter. You do 3 of these a year, and you're right on one of them every 3 years.
We are less than 1 week into the new year, and your boy is sizzling. I am absolutely in fuego. I'm seeing things very clearly right now.
I cannot wait for your semifinals predictions then.
All I'm going to say, there's 2 pieces to this, because obviously Indiana is still playing football. Okay, they get Oregon in the Peach Bowl. We'll talk about that game here in a little bit. I want to start with the Alabama side, if I may.
Yep, go for it.
I think the Alabama mystique is over. Like
100%.
I think we are done and dusted with the script A and the fact that this Alabama team can just roll it out there and people want to pack it in. It's like the line from Catch Me If You Can, right? Where he's like, what do they say about the Yankees? It's always the pinstripes, right? They see the pinstripe uniforms and everybody they just know, right? You can't beat the pinstripes. Like, we're done with this Alabama thing. And that's not a referendum on Kalen DeBoer specifically. Like, I'm not saying that like he needs to leave town. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the days of Alabama walking into a stadium and just expecting the other team to just pack it in, like those days, like we're done with that. And Indiana it could have gotten worse. Like it was scoreless first quarter. Like it wasn't like, hey man, this thing is 21-0 early. No. It was like, we're just going to keep pounding away at you. Alabama couldn't do anything on offense. And yes, their quarterback got knocked out of the game. You should probably give Indiana's defense credit for knocking him out of the game. I wasn't really surprised with what I saw from Alabama. Indiana looked better than I thought they were going to look, but I wasn't really that surprised by Alabama because it's not that they didn't deserve to be there, Roddy. It's just that this is not the Alabama team that we close our eyes and we're accustomed to seeing. It's just different, man. And we'll see what this looks like moving forward because DeBoer's got some work to do, obviously.
Yeah, just a couple things there. First off, yes, Indiana won the game and would have won the game regardless. Now, when the quarterback's ribs get cracked after he makes a guy miss and then gets nailed in the back, like, sure, I give Indiana credit for hitting him hard, but like the chances of a guy's ribs getting cracked generally aren't that high. It doesn't happen all that often. So again, like the luck piece plays into it there. I'm not saying that they would have won the game with Ty Simpson. I'm not. But like when you say, well, I mean, give him credit for knocking the quarterback out, like, okay. Gunnar Stockton had a murder committed against him. He popped right back up because
no flag.
Where he got hit. Where he got hit. Like, I mean, that dude was dead.
Yes. Gunnar got broken in half, and then he just popped back up. Yes.
But he didn't crack a rib. So I do. So there's some like footballness that plays into knocking a guy out. The in terms of the game, yeah, Indiana is a buzzsaw right now, man, and they are ruthlessly efficient, and they are ruthless in their efficiency. So like that, I give Indiana a ton of credit for. The fact that they were as efficient as they were. Fernando Mendoza threw the ball 16 times in the game. 16 times.
Yeah.
And they and 3 of them were touchdowns. They were utterly dominant. In terms of the Alabama piece of it all, the Alabama mystique has been gone for probably since Saban walked out the door. But
not like this, though. Not like this, Roddy.
Dude, Tommy Castellanos, game one, Tommy Castellanos said they don't have Saban to save them. What do you mean not like this? They walked into Tallahassee and got an ass whooping. That thing was gone. Alabama's still a really good team, though. Like, that I think is being lost in all of this. Like, we're all freaking out. Oh, the Alabama is over. They hadn't won a national championship in 5 years. That doesn't just include DeBoer. There was some Saban in there, too.
Yeah.
Saban got out because he was losing his stranglehold on the sport. And I think we can talk about the larger landscape of the sport and how the grounds have shifted, because there's a lot of people in Big Ten country that are doing a little bit of a victory lap saying, hey, look, SEC, now that paying players is legal, you guys don't have a stranglehold on the sport anymore. And here's the thing, dude, it's tough to argue. Real tough to argue, because obviously, like, people were getting paid before. To anybody who doesn't think that is naive, the fact that now that freedom of movement is more significant, even though the transfer portal started a lot earlier than NIL did.
Mm-hmm.
Once NIL started and everyone could pay and it was legal and above board, the talent was more evenly dispersed, and the SEC no longer has a stranglehold on the sport. I do not think that is coincidental. So like the Alabama thing to me is as much about the flattening of the sport as it is the person and the mystique around it. Like, I am not completely convinced that you would have had significantly different results with Saban on the sideline, because you did not have significantly different results with Saban on the sideline before. Now, he didn't miss the college football playoff like DeBoer did in the first year, would not have missed the 12 team, which DeBoer did in his first year, but this year DeBoer made it. He won a game in the college football playoff. Would it have been all that different? Maybe. I'm not saying like maybe they beat Florida State. Maybe they win the SEC championship game. Maybe a lot's different. But I think to believe that Alabama was at the top of the sport when Saban left, like the very top, national championship, like those Saban teams towards the end were flawed, and we talked about their flaws. And now you have a coach that's not quite as good with a roster that is just as flawed, and they don't win quite as much. But like, what were you going to do? Who were you going to get that was going to replicate that? So yes, the mystique is gone. They could win a national championship next year, though. Like, it's such a year-to-year proposition, and Alabama's always going to be in the running, that I think to write them off the way people are is a little bit premature.
Okay. All I'm saying, Roddy, is like there are losses and there's like a gradual erosion. And like, yes, you're talking about, the Michigan and Alabama Rose Bowl, the CFP semi from a couple years ago. You're talking about, the national championship game loss to Georgia and Indianapolis. Like, yes, there is a gradual chipping away at the old foundation. And then there's 38-3. Like, I think that was and going back to what was said the last time we discussed college football, I think these are two ships that are kind of passing in the night. Like, I just think this is one of these. We'll see. Look, we'll see. I'm just here to say that, like, I think what Cignetti is doing at Indiana, like he got Mendoza in the portal. Like, he is a talent evaluator. He brought some very good players with him from Harrisonburg to the Big Ten, who are now like all conference guys. Kind of like what Clark Lee's doing at Vanderbilt. This dude is not going out and necessarily recruiting 5-star guys, but he is able to evaluate talent. And when you've got a bankroll and you've got a budget that you get to go spend now, because everybody has this, right? Obviously, there's the Texas Techs and the Miamis and the Ole Misses and the LSUs that have more. I just think Indiana might be built a little different in terms of how they're going to go about trying to maintain this. Now, look, they have not won a national championship. They're a 3.5-point favorite in the semifinal against Oregon. I'm not crowning Indiana yet. However, should they win 2 more games, and we're talking about an Indiana team that's the reigning national champs of college football, and we go back and we look at Cignetti 5 years from now, we're going to look at this game. That's all I'm saying. I just think Indiana.
I think it depends on what happens with Alabama.
Maybe. Yeah.
What Indiana does, I think what happens with Indiana is independent of the Alabama story. Like what's happening with Indiana and what Curt Cignetti is doing is tremendous. It's one of the greatest turnarounds in the history of the sport. It is the greatest turnaround in the modern history of the sport, passing with the potential. Look, it's not the greatest. Yeah, no, it probably is the greatest so far because Clemson started at a higher bar. But in this era, of this like most recent era. And I'll say post 2000, maybe even going back to the 90s. Like we have not seen a team really rise above where it has been historically and stay there as long as Clemson did. Now, Clemson's a separate story based on what's happening now. But what Clemson did, elevating from like mid-tier, upper-tier ACC program, mid to upper-tier ACC program to national championship contender for essentially 8 years, that is one of the greatest coaching jobs that we've ever seen. What Curt Cignetti has done, turning the losingest program in the history of college football into a national championship contender, I would say is approaching. I mean, maybe it has passed Clemson because of where Indiana started, but I also think in this era it's easier. Because of the freedom of movement, because of the fact that you can turn a roster over as quickly. Like Dabo couldn't do that in 2009 or 10 or 11. It was a slow build. So you had to have that success. You had to have some success to build. And then you crater in 2010 and then you rebound in 11 and then 12 happens and you have the Florida State in 12 and 13 that you can't get past. And then in 14, you finally 14 too, and then in 15 you finally get over the hump, and then 16 you're in the national championship, you get 7. So like there was that build there. So they're a little different, but these are the two of the greatest that we've seen. So what Cignetti is doing is different from the Alabama story. I think the Alabama story is more about like how does Alabama learn to navigate this era of the portal, because they do not seem to have the consistency and high level draft picks, particularly defensively, that they used to. I think a lot of that is because some of that's going to be because of development, but some of that's going to be because those guys don't wait anymore. Those guys are really highly regarded, and when they're sitting on Alabama's bench and they are paid like a backup, someone's going to come in and say, hey, look, transfer to us. We will pay you like a starter, and you can showcase your skills more readily or more quickly. Now, does that lead to like NFL draft picks? I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the guys that have transferred out of there. But I think that's part of it, and that's part. If I were to, wager on factors that why Nick Saban left, that is part of it, man. Because he couldn't stockpile talent the way he used to. It's the same thing that's happening at Georgia, the same thing that's happening at Texas. These programs, Ohio State's largely been able to avoid it, which is one of the credits to Ohio State. Although they also lost in the college football playoff semifinal or in the quarterfinal. So. I don't know, man. Like, I don't think that this is like – I think if Alabama goes in the tank, we will look at, like, the Indiana game and say, all right, that was the day that everything ended for Alabama. But if Alabama's playing in the SEC championship game next year, which is very possible, then I think we'll look at it and be like, oh, a bump in the road. They learned from it. Like, the story is not written and won't be written for a few years on this game.
Yeah, I just there's a butterfly effect here that, to your point about waiting for a couple years to see how this all plays out. I have a lot of friends that are Michigan fans, and they thought, second quarter of the Oklahoma game when it's 17-0 OU, they're like, we're going to go get Kalen DeBoer out of Tuscaloosa. He's going to be the next head coach in Ann Arbor, and we're back. Like, we're good. We're good with that. Obviously, Bama comes back. They win the game. They come from 17 down. They advance into the quarterfinals. They obviously get blasted in the Rose Bowl, but Michigan's like, we're going to go get Kyle Whittingham. And I think Michigan's going to be fine with Kyle Whittingham. I think they're going to be better than fine. I think they're going to be in a really good place. So we'll see. There's a lot to wait and see about. And look, man, the Clemson build was awesome. That took a decade. It took a long time under Dabo. We're not even 2 years in to Curt Cignetti in Bloomington.
Yes. So, but again, like different era of college football. Dabo could not run off a roster and replace it with. Well, he wasn't coming from anywhere. But he could not run off a roster and replace it with a bunch of transfers, even if that's what he wanted to do. He had to go through the Kyle Parker era and the beginning of the Taj Boyd era. He couldn't go and get Cam. Well, I guess he could have gone and gotten Cam Newton. He couldn't go and get Logan Thomas from Virginia Tech, for instance.
Wow! Shout out to Logan Thomas. Dude was a beast.
He couldn't have gone and gotten, who were Greg McElroy from Alabama. Like he couldn't have gone and gotten those guys. He had to go through the recruiting of Nuke Hopkins and Sammy Watkins, and he couldn't dip in and go get some of these receivers at other places.
Sure.
So what Curt Cignetti did is tremendous for its speed. But this era, and look, this is not taking away from Curt Cignetti's build at all, because everybody has not done this. But this era of college football allows for Curt Cignetti to do it as quickly as he had, when his previous college football eras, Curt Cignetti would have had to do it in a way that was a lot more like Dabo did.
I have a football question for you before we move on. Your thoughts on Fernando Mendoza and, like, I guess people's hesitancy to, like, crown him as a ready-to-go, like, lock number one pick in the NFL draft? Because I've seen a lot of that. As you mentioned, I mean, he only threw the ball 16 times against Alabama. That's all he needed to do. He completed 13 of those. But do you need to see more from him? Like, I understand it's different when you're projecting on Sundays and what these guys look like as pros. But what do you make of Mendoza as an NFL player?
Yeah, I think he has the potential to be a good one. Like, predicting who's going to be good in the NFL, I think is hard. It's too hard, especially if you go to the Raiders or the Jets.
So true, man.
Like,
it's so true. If you get drafted by the Jets, you're cooked, man.
Dude,
I don't care how good you are. You're cooked.
You're done. The Browns, like any of those schools. I mean, any of those teams. So do I think Mendoza is the best prospect at the quarterback position in terms of, like, ready to go? Yes. I think Dante Moore probably has the highest ceiling. I would shy away from Ty Simpson. I think Ty Simpson needs another year. But, like, is he going to be good? I don't know, bro. Like, I mean, hell, if the pros knew, they would be better at their jobs. But it's a coin flip, unless you're going to the Raiders or the Jets, and then it's probably the Raiders have a better track record than the Jets, certainly, of quarterbacks. But
yes, they do. All right, anything else from Pasadena?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, I don't have much here for Oregon, Texas Tech. It was 23-0. It could have been a lot more than that if Dan Lanning had hit on a couple of fourth down conversions in the first half that he didn't hit on. That's how Oregon plays football. If it's less than 4th and 5 and they're in plus territory, they're going. Texas Tech had 4 interceptions. Baron Morton, as we discussed earlier, was dreadful. And other than a big 50-yard run in the first half, Texas Tech did very little on offense. Any concern here for Oregon? Or I guess as you look ahead to the Peach Bowl, you're going to be there, Roddy. It's a rematch. We saw this game in the regular season in Eugene. Indiana won by 10. How do you handicap Ducks Hoosiers Part 2 on the fast track at the Benz Friday night?
So first off, what is lost in this game is how good Texas Tech's defense was. Like, Texas Tech's defense was good in this game. They stopped Oregon consistently, especially early on 4th downs. They got turnovers on downs. Like, they kept them in this game. It was a 6-0 game at halftime.
Yes.
Because of that Texas Tech defense. And it was, what was it, 13-0 going into the fourth quarter. Like, Texas Tech's defense did all it could. Oregon only had 309 yards of offense. Like, it's not like Texas Tech just got rolled in every single aspect. The 4 turnovers is what killed them. Baron Morton throws 2 picks, bad ones. Like, it kills you. So I look at what Texas Tech did in this game in particular, and this is the point of going and getting Brendan Sorsby. If I'm Texas Tech, I'm thinking, dude, if we play that game with a different quarterback, we are in that game. We are absolutely in that game, 1,000%. Because it's not like Oregon rolled them. So, but it's not like Oregon dominated them. if that makes sense. Does that
one of my notes was that Oregon just simply could not run the football, and that's a concern if I'm a Ducks fan going up against Indiana's defense. Yeah, 100%.
Right. So like you look at Texas Tech and Baron Morton. It's a great season. It's absolutely a successful season for Texas Tech because they took that step. They never won the Big 12 before. They won the Big 12. They made it to the college football playoff. Are you getting mad? You're breathing real hard into that microphone.
Am I? Sorry.
Yeah.
I've been known to be a heavy breather on the mic. No, you're cooking. I'm gonna let you go. You're fine.
The Texas Tech thing though, I think has to be looked at as success, and it's time to take that thing to the next level. In terms of Oregon, yes, they are flawed. I also look at Oregon. If you're able to protect Dante Moore better, then I absolutely feel like they will be in that game against Indiana. They have to find a way to run the ball. They weren't able to do it against Texas Tech. Texas Tech's, I believe, they were the number one rush defense in the country. Like, I'm not sure many people were able to run the ball against them this year. But Indiana, it's not like Indiana's a schlep. They're number 2. Indiana is. So there you go. So if you're not able to run the ball, I think you're in trouble. I do think that Oregon defense should be able to keep them in the game. I do think that Oregon defense is playing really well. After the JMU game, it seems like Dan Lanning got after that ass.
You're welcome, Oregon.
After that JMU game.
You're welcome.
Exactly. JMU's contribution to the playoff. So yeah, man, this is going to be a fascinating game. It was a great game the first time. They're playing it 4,000 miles away from where they played it the first time.
It's weird. It's weird where I understand why this is because of the bracket and the whole shebang, but like the Big Ten team should be playing in Arizona, right? And Miami and Ole Miss should be in Atlanta, but it's not. That's how this is. That's how this breaks. It is what it is.
You would hope that in the future they consider that a little bit more, because holding on to the conference affiliations with the bowls, it makes you end up with like Texas Tech, Oregon in Miami, where the seats are going for $69 before the game. Less than that, actually, before the game.
Nice.
We don't do that anymore. It's about $67. So that's when you get the reaction.
By the way, my son, who is like learning math, right? Like he's a first grader. He'll be like, Dad, what's 55 plus 22? Or so? No, I just ruined it. Math.
It's tough.
Math. He'll be like, Dad, what's 55 plus 12? And I'll be like, it's 67. All day. But it's like math. Yes. What's 100 minus 33? 67.
Good for him.
That was 2.5 weeks of Christmas break. I mean, that's all we had was math, so we can get to 67. Anyway, sorry. Go back to your ticket question.
Yeah, but I just feel like if you were to design the college football playoff and eliminate the conference affiliations to the bowls, because there is a hat tip to that. Like the Big Ten team will always go to the Rose Bowl if they're the higher seed, or historic Pac-12 team will end up. Well, they're in the Big Ten now, unless it's the Big 12. But they will typically end up in the Rose Bowl because of the historic ties. I think Indiana, Alabama, and the Rose Bowl was a great spectacle, but like that should have been Oregon, Texas Tech. So, Oregon's a Big Ten team. Like, I don't know why you couldn't have gone that. You want the number 1 overall seed, but you could have had these games in different places. The Cotton Bowl could have been Indiana and Alabama. The Sugar Bowl was fine. And then the Orange Bowl would have been Miami and Ohio State, which I think Ohio State would have preferred, to be honest with you, rather than, well, maybe not. The Cotton Bowl is probably where they wanted to be, but I don't know, man. Like I wish we would look at it a little more geographical, because we are putting a lot of onus on these fans to travel. Like these Miami fans have now gone to Dallas.
Yeah.
They're going to Arizona. When like, let's make it easy on people so that we help these crowds, we help the fans, because we're bleeding them. We're bleeding them more than we ever have. Schools are asking for more money. You've got people. You've got the tickets, the ticket sales. Ticket prices are higher because we got to raise more money. Tennessee's putting stuff to help NIL and their tickets. Like people around the country are bleeding fans more. And here's the thing, dude: the games that the fans are paying to go see are worse, and they care less about them because Indiana, for example, the Indiana home schedule in the preseason was abysmal. Like nobody wants to go see those games other than just to see Indiana. There's nothing there to excite fans in the preseason. Because their preseason schedule, or in their non-conference, let me stop calling it preseason, although we should call it preseason.
Kennesaw State, Old Dominion.
Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and Indiana State. And then in conference, you're asking them to come and see them play UCLA. Like there's no care. Like there's no attachment to those schools. Now they play Michigan State, they played Illinois at home, they played Wisconsin, they played Ohio State. Those are historic teams that you've played. But essentially, you're paying, like you buy a season ticket, you're paying for the Ohio State game. Essentially, Illinois too. Like there's some rivalry there. I don't know if they have a trophy with. I know they don't against UCLA. I don't think there's one against Michigan State. But my point is, these conferences have gotten more national, and unless you're playing big non-conference games, you have more games at home that you don't care about. Maryland versus everybody in the Big 12. UCLA versus everybody everybody in the Big 10. UCLA versus everybody in the Big 10. Stanford went to Miami this year. And yet we are asking more of these fans to buy in, even though the games that they're getting at home are less, and we ask them to travel to more sites if you actually are good. Indiana fans, go to the Rose Bowl and see that. Now go to Atlanta and see that. Like, let's make it easy on people. But
yeah, I'm with you. By the way, hashtag research while you were talking. Get in price for the, what is this thing called? The Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Miami Ole Miss. You want to guess? Get in price?
$150.
$61.
$61. Yep.
$61 to see the U and Ole Miss. That's a steal. Meanwhile, Oregon, Indiana, get in price at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. What you got? Give us a, oh, wow. You're getting Starbucks.
Oregon, Indiana.
Starbucks delivered mid-show.
Wife Jackie came through with mid-show Starbucks.
Hang on. Let me guess your order.
Go for it.
You know I used to work at Starbucks back in the day, right, dog?
Go for it.
You know that.
Yep, go for it.
You're a sugar-free vanilla latte guy.
No, dude. I get a coffee. This is a Sunsera blend with a splash of cream. That's it.
Just a splash, huh?
Just a splash.
I go heavy on the cream. Okay, so Oregon, Indiana.
Honestly, I should just drink it black, but I like to smooth it out just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Also, it lowers the temperature. That Starbucks coffee is like lava, dude. It'll like just burn you. Indiana, Oregon, get
What's
in price.
What's your order? You're probably a PSL guy.
No, I'm not a PSL guy. You're funny.
Mocha Joka.
You're a funny guy. My order is when it's hot, I get iced coffee. When it's cold, I get hot coffee. That's it. And I don't put sweeteners in there. It's just cream. Oh, that's how I get down. I got some stories though, bro. If you want to do a Starbucks episode, we can do a Starbucks episode. Dude, your boy used to hold it down.
The most interesting thing that I see is when we do these shows on site. I don't do the, like, obviously, I do games. So I go and I travel with my crew that does games, and let's just say in the realm of like how pampered you are, the college football, like TV world, games is the lowest level of pampering. Now, I'm not saying that we are treated poorly. We are treated very well. At the beginning of the year, our the person that runs our crew, not our producer, but like the person that runs like the operations on site, will ask, hey, what do you need in the booth? And you can specifically request stuff, and it will show up every single week. And that's wonderful. It is awesome. I do not take that for granted. But it pales in comparison to the way that the traveling studio shows are treated, dude. The traveling studio shows are pampered to the max. Like,
why are they making Laura Rutledge run 100 yards though? I mean, why don't you help our girl out?
I should get her a golf cart or something.
Yeah,
like that. She's an athlete.
She is an athlete, but I mean, we don't like one misstep and it. You know what I mean? Dude, like, I'm just worried
just a second.
It.
Like, I've met Laura a couple times. One of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Agreed. I don't know if she knows me from Adam. The amount of talent that it takes to do that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I don't think people quite realize, like, that is a completely, not only is it a different skill set, being able to host and do sidelines that not everybody can do. She makes it look easy enough where everybody thinks I can be Laura Rutledge. The hell you can. the amount of physical activity that you do on the sideline, even covering one sideline, information gathering, relaying that information to the truck, and then I don't know how this is being communicated to her, but somehow they have to communicate to her the halftime plan. Hey, Laura, here's what we're covering at half. Here's how we're going to start, because she doesn't have you don't have time to do that in her run from the halftime hit to the set. So it's just, for her to be able to, it's hard enough to go from like doing a game to post game, but doing it in game is just like,
yeah,
there's not many people. I don't know that there's anybody else in our industry that could do it.
She's got game, no doubt about that. I just, at this point, it's like a thing. It's become like I want to watch Laura Rutledge run from the corner to the desk so that she can, run the halftime show. Just to close the loop on the tickets, Indiana, Oregon,
what's that?
Standing room only ticket at the Benz, which means you do not get a seat. You're just in there and you get to walk around and hang out at the rail. $186 for standing room only. A seat in section 318 runs you $234. So they're making the trip. Shout out to those Big Ten fans that are going to be descending on your town, Roddy. It's not my town anymore. I don't recognize the place. It's your town. ATL, son.
I mean, you're the one that's here all the time for the SEC championship game. The interesting thing, man, is part of this shift, Big Ten wise, I think it has to do with the fact that these schools are massive. They are huge. I mean, Indiana, I think I've said this before to you, Indiana has the largest living alumni base in the country.
Yeah, these Big Ten schools have like 60,000 undergrads.
Indiana has 50,000 undergrads.
Look at Michigan State.
Total Indiana has 90,000 students, undergrad, auxiliary campuses, and then grad school. Oregon is smaller. They're not a typical Big Ten school. But Ole Miss, like by comparison, Ole Miss has 28,000. I mean, it's half the size of Indiana as a school. Miami is a fraction of that. 19,000 overall, 12,000 undergrads. Like, you're just not, you're not fighting a fair fight when it comes to being able to show up at these places. And here's like, I say this endearingly because they're my people. Miami fans are the worst. They are so vocal that it makes you think they've got a massive fan base. They don't.
No, Miami's a small private school, bougie.
Correct.
Very
Correct.
bougie. Yes.
Which like the Miami fans get all, fired up about when people talking about them not showing up to games and all that. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that they're not trying to show up to games. They just got other stuff to do. Like a lot of the Miami fans that'll yell at you about it didn't show up to the Stanford game. You know how I know? They weren't there because I was there and they weren't.
Yo, I remember that Stanford game. There were like 40,000 empty seats at Hard Rock for that game.
The two games that I did at Miami this year, Stanford and NC State, you could have combined those two crowds and it wouldn't have been capacity. And that's the reality of it. Whereas and Miami fans get all pissy, but go and watch some of these other places. I did an Ole Miss Tulane game that was full, filled to the brim. Well, that's a college town. There's nothing else to do there. Correct. And so they go to the game. I know there's a lot to do in Miami, but you can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, we got stuff to do. That's why we don't show up at the games. And then, you can't get mad at us for not showing up at the games. Look, it is what it is. The thing is, though, it is you can really see the difference when Miami plays in these types of games because, the Miami fan, the Miami fans as a whole are not a big enough fan base for people to kind of sit out and pick and choose. Like, it's just not enough for like some of the fan base to go to Phoenix and have a really good representation. It's just not enough people because a lot of them just grew up in Miami. The alumni base is not significant. And a lot of the alumni, like you said, it's private school. Like a lot of people go to the University of Miami, not for the ball. So it's just different. It's a different feel and vibe. And the Miami fans, again, I say you're the worst. I say that endearingly, like, keep it up. I actually love the Miami fans. They're the worst because of the stuff they complain about, which is a whole separate episode. But like Miami fans just like, they can't show up in force at a place like Phoenix because there's just not enough of them.
Listen, I'm glad, Roddy, that you have this forum, this show, to let that out of your system before you travel to Glendale and sit at the desk for the ACC network. on Thursday. So
that's it on ACC Network.
Okay, well, you will.
Bro,
let's talk
I'm
about
not saying
the U.
I'm going to, but like
you ain't scared, is what you're saying. You're not scared.
What are you going to do? Kick me off the network?
Give me your takes on Miami 24-14 over Ohio State, because as much as the Indiana Rose Bowl win was a victory lap for your boy, which you half apologized for giving me shit about.
No, there was no apology there. I would like that to be made clear. There was no apology.
Okay, fine, zero apology. I mean, look, man, I've been in enough therapy sessions to know what an actual apology sounds like versus what you rolled out there, which was not an apology. I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt.
I don't want any doubt there. I want no doubt that there was no apology.
Yes, just to clarify, me predicting Indiana to win by 3 scores was the broken clock that is right twice a day. Yes, that's what I was. Now, for as much as
Felder
that was,
and Wayne felt just like I did when you said that.
So it was. Listen, I'm gonna get to them a little bit later. They're coming later this week. Don't worry. I got something for Wayne on Wednesday, and I got something for Felder too. I will give you credit though, talking about Miami and their win over Ohio State, because before these games even started, when the bracket came out, you said, "Look, Miami's a 10 seed. Watch out! Like, these dudes are dangerous." And Ohio State fans know, because they saw it firsthand in Dallas in that standalone game in the Cotton Bowl. Miami jumped out to a 14-0 lead. The pick six, the defense. I mean, I'm going to give you your flowers here, Roddy, because Miami is in the college football playoff semifinals. And while you didn't pick Miami to get there, you did say that they were.
I did.
Did you?
Miami.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, you do so many shows, I can't keep track. But
every
hat tip to you, sir.
So I did a bracket 3 hours after the show, the bracket was released, and I've stuck to that bracket. And I believe I stuck to the game picks as well. But like the overall bracket, I've stuck to. I had Miami in the semifinal. I had them playing Georgia, but I had Miami in the semifinal because I felt like Miami's defensive line could give everybody trouble. I thought going to A&M was going to be a test. It was. I didn't know how Miami would function offensively, but I thought in that game that the lines of scrimmage favored Miami and that Texas A&M's defense was a little bit of a fraud. Not a complete fraud, but a little bit. I did, however, feel very strongly that Ohio State was going to have trouble blocking Miami. That played out.
Yes, it did.
Didn't know how Miami would handle Jeremiah Smith. He got his, but the thing is Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate didn't. And Miami was able to stop the run. And so, this was an NFL football game. The skill level on both sides looked very similar. Miami plays low possession games, which is part of the interest of this one against Ole Miss. But this Miami team, with its front, both on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball, that has led them to these 2 victories because that defensive line has been ferocious and tremendous. That offensive line, Francis Maui-Noa has had a phenomenal playoff. Phenomenal. Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor have had phenomenal playoffs. Keontae Scott has had a phenomenal playoff. And I saw this team in person 3 times, man. There are not many teams, including the one they're about to play, that are going to be able to block them consistently on a down and down out basis. So this game was a coin flip going in. It was a coin flip during the game.
No, it was not a coin flip going in. Ohio State was a 10-point favorite.
Okay. I felt like this was a coin flip going in because I felt like this game was going to be the closest of them. Like if you had asked me to predict which game was going to be the closest, which I believe you did, or somebody did, I said this one. I talked to Dusty. Dusty did the game. I talked to Dusty about it before the game. Like, dude, I don't know why this line is so big. But hell, I ran into Joe Fortenbaugh going into the coming out of the game. I said, Joe, were you surprised that the money was that swung to Ohio State or that the line was that heavy on Ohio State? He was like, dude, he's like, I wasn't because I see what I see what the public sees. The public sees Ohio State. They see Miami snuck in. The money's going to flow in on Ohio State unless you make the line big enough. But he's like, man, the sharps were on it. The last 2 days, money flooded Miami. Because I thought the 2 layups of the playoff were Miami plus the points and the under in this game. Because of the way Miami plays, like this was always going to be a low possession game. And that defensive line was too good to get blown out by 10 points. I did not think Ohio State was going to hit 20. And I thought Miami could get to 10. or 12, just by the way the game played out. So, I felt like the way this game played out, it could have gone either way. They take out the pick six, and Ohio State's got a great shot to win it. They operate differently down the stretch. Let's not forget, Miami's to make it a 10-point margin. Miami had to drive down the field, which they did successfully, and then Ohio State let them score, which was the right thing to do in that scenario because you weren't getting the ball back. You had to let them score in that scenario to have any shot. So I'm not invalidating that score. I think if Ohio State tries, they probably still give up the touchdown with the way that drive went. But, Miami had 291 yards of offense. The last drive was 70 yards. So, it's not like Miami's offense dominated this game, but they played better. They played better than Ohio State did down the stretch. They played better, more consistently, and that Miami defense was the story of the game to me.
So, in all of that analysis, Carson Beck's name has not been mentioned.
Yeah.
I am curious to get your perspective on a guy who has he been Trinidad Chambliss through 2 college football playoff games? No, he is not. But he has played turnover-free football, and I would argue that you got really good Carson Beck against an Ohio State defense that is really good. At some point, we need to give this man credit for navigating where Miami is up to this point. No?
Yeah, absolutely. That is a mistake by me by not mentioning him because he was not the star of this game. Obviously,
right.
The stars of this game was that defensive line and that offensive line. But he was very good. The scrambles that he had to set up 3rd and shorts or to get first downs were tremendous. The fact that he was as efficient as he was, 73% completion, 138, one score, the throw that needed to be made to Mark Fletcher on that little fake quarterback power, and he dunks it out to Fletcher. It's not like that is a layup of a throw that is high percentage, but people miss it. He didn't miss it. He had a couple of other throws, but getting to the checkdowns quickly. I think that is one of his superpowers, and we don't celebrate that because it's a checkdown. But if you drop back on a 2nd and 10, and it's not open down the field, and you get to your checkdown quickly, as guys are still dropping or not quite in their zones, that running back now has a chance to catch it, turn, and the defense isn't necessarily set and coming downhill, and so they've got an opportunity to get 9-10 yards off of a pass that goes 1 yard in the air. And that keeps you on schedule. He did that consistently. So I give Carson Beck a lot of credit, man. He has not overplayed this thing. And I think there is still the capability of him having a big game in this college football playoff. But they haven't needed him to. And you look over his last six games, he's thrown 1 pick. And that's for a guy that threw 6 picks in the 2 losses that they had. Now, not all of them are on him. I'm not going to go down that route. But I give Carson Beck a lot of credit for what he's done because he seems poised to have a bigger game at some point, and I think this is probably the week. Malachi Toney seems poised to have a bigger game at some point. He's another guy. We haven't talked about him, but his work in the blocking game, those receivers work in the blocking game, tremendous, man. It's awesome to see just how much of a unit this team is.
Is Thursday night going to be a track meet? Like I know you said about how Miami likes to play, but we know how Ole Miss likes to play.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, like, if you're Miami, do you slow this thing down? Do you just do you methodically?
Miami's going to play like they play. Miami is one of the slower tempo teams in the country. Ole Miss is one of the fastest. The thing is, and I don't know how to. It's funny because I've been I like to contextualize things. Like how many tempo teams has Miami played this year? How many times, and how did they do against those tempo teams? What was the result? So Miami has played 4 teams that I would consider high tempo. South Florida is number 1 in run time per play. That's like time on the wall in between plays. Like put a stopwatch on them in between plays. Miami played South Florida early on and really dominated them. Ole Miss is 11, so they'll be the 2nd fastest team that they've played. Florida State's 29. I would consider them up tempo.
NC State, they smoked NC State.
NC State's not really a tempo team. NC State's
really?
going to be a lot lower than that. There was one more. NC State's like 66. There's one more in there. SMU, and SMU's 25th. So those are the tempo teams that they play. None are as fast as Ole Miss. South Florida is the only one that's faster than Ole Miss. The other ones aren't as fast. And Ole Miss is certainly the most efficient of those offenses. And Miami really held their own against all of those. Now, there were times in that SMU game when SMU was able to get into their tempo that they did mute the pass rush of Miami some. I think you could say the same thing about the Florida State game, mostly late. But the thing that Miami does and the thing that they're really good at is they get you off schedule early in drives so that you can't get into tempo. It's 1st and 10, 2nd and 11, or 1st and 10, 2nd and 9. And now if you're not able to get a chunk, if you're not able to get to 3rd and 3 or 4, you're probably not tempoing a 3rd and 7. Now, if you convert that 3rd and 7, then you can get into your tempo. But they're obviously very good on 3rd downs, particularly 3rd and longs. So you're not able to get into your tempo. If you're able to have 1st down success, 1st and 10, or let's start a drive. They call it P and 10. P and 10 means you got possession, 10 yards to go. If you're able to get to 2nd and 2, run it for a 1st down. Now you really get into your tempo. Now you're cranking. And if you can do that, they play Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain a ton. Ruben Bain leads them in defensive snaps this year. That is very rare for a defensive end to lead their team in defensive snaps. Then you can start to wear those guys down, and they just get tired late in drives like everybody. The young guys have played better. Mondo Blunt, Marquise Lightfoot, those guys have played better. They like those guys more in packages when they can be inside. You can't do that if you're getting tempoed into 3rd downs, and you can't do that at tempo, over the course of a drive. So, I think the thing to watch for in this game in terms of how Miami plays it is how people always play Ole Miss. How does Miami slow Ole Miss's offensive tempo down on any time Ole Miss goes out of bounds on their own sideline? That automatically, if the offense goes out of bounds on their own sideline, automatically the substitution process is initiated. The referee will hold the ball until Miami has a chance to substitute. So that is important because I think in those cases, Miami is going to substitute very slowly. Send somebody in, usually a defensive tackle because those guys are more interchangeable. Sub somebody in very slowly to slow Ole Miss down. Long incomplete passes down the field, they will also substitute, although they don't have the referee to help them. And then anytime Ole Miss subs, particularly on 3rd downs, really anytime Ole Miss subs, Miami's going to sub, and they're going to sub slowly. Right. Because that's what teams do to slow the tempo down. Ole Miss knows that. They're going to tell their guys, hey, look, if we're on our sidelines, don't go out of bounds, get tackled in bounds. They're going to tell their guys, hey, look, once we're and they don't sub a ton once they're in their they don't sub at all once they're in their tempo because they don't have to. They can play with Daquan Wright, and those receivers are used to it. So that is going to be the game within the game. But offensively, Miami's slow. Like Miami's going to play very slowly. They are 104th in the country in tempo. They will not change from that. This is what they do. They want to play low possession games. It's what hurt them early in the season. They were playing low possession games against SMU and against Louisville, and the offensive penalties and turnovers crushed them. So Miami can't have those, but Miami wants to play this as like 10 to 11, maybe 12 possessions. That is typically what Miami games are. You look at that Ohio State game, and there were, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 possessions for Ohio State in the game.
Yeah.
And the last possession was a 2-play possession where Sagan throws an interception. That's the game Miami wants to play.
Last thing for me on this is like Miami's defense has already faced 2 mobile quarterbacks in the playoffs. Like I know Trinidad Chambliss is coming off of a God mode game, like a legacy game where he was levitating. Okay.
One mobile quarterback in the playoff.
Well, they saw Marcel Reed. They saw Gunnar Stockton. Like those guys are mobile.
They played Sagan.
Sorry, Miami. Yes, you're right. They did a really good job of shutting down Marcel Reed. Like
did they?
Running the football. I mean, did he go off in that game with his legs?
He had like 50-something yards rushing. Most of their running game was Marcel Reed. Like he had some big scrambles, particularly early on in that game. The issue with Marcel Reed was he couldn't throw it.
No, he could not.
But in that Miami game, he had 27 yards. Now, if you take the sacks out of it, I wonder what it was. I think I saw that it was. I'll look it up. But Marcel Reed had some timely scrambles. He didn't go off in that game, certainly. And Miami, I do not believe, has had a quarterback go off against them this year.
Right.
In terms of running. And they've played Byron Brown. They played Tommy Castellanos. They played Kevin Jennings, although Kevin Jennings had an ankle coming into that game, and he hurt his ankle very early in that game, in the first half of that game. So he was not a big running threat, but they have played him. The thing about Miami is they are super athletic.
Yeah.
In the secondary and in the front. Linebackers are fine. Bissaint's pretty athletic. Linebackers are fine, and Mo Toure is a good backer, but he's not like, he's not Arvell Reese in terms of athleticism. This will be their biggest challenge. Like, this is the best quarterback that they've played all year long. This is the most mobile. Castellanos again. But, this is one of the most mobile quarterbacks that they've played all year long. So, yeah.
All right, Rodstra, you're going to be on site, boots on the ground in Glendale, in Atlanta, taking in both CFP semis. I will allow you to make some picks on the way out the door here. You went 2-3 in the quarterfinal round. You went 2-0 in the Miami-Ohio State game. You had the under, you had the points. Everything else, Texas Tech, Bama, and Georgia, you whiffed on. So if you would like to make some picks on the semifinal games, I got the lines here, and
so
I will allow
Marcel Reed. Just a second, Marcel Reed. 5-yard scramble. He had scrambles of 9, 10, and 11, but the rest of it, 6 yards, 2 yards, 5 yards, another 9-yarder.
Those are chunk plays. That's
no, they're not chunks, but they move the chains. Like that is enough to get you beat for sure, but not so much where it's going to kill you. If you're able to limit the other stuff, it's not Trinidad going for 100 plus against somebody. So they will have more zone read in this game that they will have to deal with. They will have more explosive scramble that they would have to deal with. But it doesn't terrify me against this Miami defense because they are very sound, very athletic up front, particularly when they have like Lightfoot in the game.
Look, man, I know a lot of Miami fans who are, I don't want to speak for all Miami fans, just the ones that I interact with. They wanted Ole Miss. They didn't want Georgia in this semifinal game. Yeah, right? They wanted Ole Miss.
The thing is, though, like on paper, yes, this is the team that you want. But do you want it because they just beat Georgia?
I understand.
They beat the team that you didn't want to get. And here's the other thing, dude. I think Ole Miss has the capability. I'm not convinced that they will be able to do it. But the style that they play can force Miami into a game that they don't really want to be in. Georgia was always going to play a game that Miami's comfortable in. Like, Georgia might be better, but that was going to be a bloodier nose, downhill, line of scrimmage, who can run the ball, very similar to the two games that they just played.
Right.
Ole Miss with its tempo, with its sort of defensive disruption, and the quarterback, I think puts you in a situation where, like, you could be uncomfortable in this one. But I don't know.
Let's make some picks. What do you feel good about? Thursday night, Miami, Ole Miss.
Hold on, is this the end of the show? Because
this is the end of the show. Yes.
You don't want to talk any transfer portal? Because I do think it's interesting.
I mean, what do you find interesting? Like
the quarterback market,
the latest news, the
quarterback market is very interesting.
All right, what do we know? We know that Sorsby's going from Cincinnati to Texas Tech. We know that Sam Levitt is still out there. We know that Mestamaker is making the move to Oklahoma State, as expected.
Predicted.
I mean, who else is out there at the quarterback position specifically? Byron Brown still out there. Josh Hoover. He's going to Indiana.
So, like, you got Hoover going to Indiana. That's interesting and noteworthy. Like, that is Curt Cignetti's next pick at quarterback.
Yes, it is. Yes.
The most accomplished, certainly, of the quarterbacks that he's brought in. Probably not the most talented. That would be Mendoza. But, like, the most accomplished and experienced that he's brought in. Josh Hoover. That's big, man. He's Nick Marsh from Michigan State's going to Indiana. That's big, man.
That's huge. Yo, that guy was a monster. Michigan State was bad, but that guy's a problem. Yes.
They got a running back. Who was the running back that they got, too? They got a big running back, too, in the portal. Oh, God, I'm blanking. Turbo Richard from Boston College. Nobody watched Boston College football this year. Turbo Richard's a player. Like, Turbo Richard is a good. I'm gonna
take you at your word there, because yes, you're right. I did not watch BC football.
Didn't watch them,
but
confirm. They got good players too. So, like, that is, you look at what Curt Cignetti is doing. You're like, okay,
that's what I mean, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, we need to. I know we're only 2 years in, but like, let's. You can't not love what's happening if you're an Indiana football fan or just a fan of like just the narrative here, which is that this is, like you said, they are the losingest college football program. Were the losingest college football program of all time. And they just beat Alabama by 35 points in the Rose Bowl. Like, and here they are. Like, buckle up. I don't think they're going anywhere. My boy DJ Lagway's still sitting out there. Dylan Raiola's still sitting out there.
Yeah.
This could all change by the time we post the show in 2 hours. But, yes, there is a lot of activity.
Well, I think the interesting thing about it all, there's a couple. One, everyone's going to get jarred by the numbers. Everything's wrong with the transfer portal, all that. A lot of the guys that are in the portal are forced in the portal. They are not doing it voluntarily. Look at what Parker Livingston said on the way out of Texas. This was not my choice. I would love to be a Longhorn, but things are out of my control. That happens. The Texas running back room, sometimes the number just ain't the number. Like the number ain't numbering. So a couple of guys to watch for. Cam Coleman, the excellent receiver from Auburn.
Yes.
A lot of people think they're going to get him. Texas Tech certainly thinks they're going to get him. LSU, I've heard, is in the running for Cam Coleman. LSU still does not have a quarterback yet. We'll see who Lane Kiffin picks, but he's not getting Trinidad Chambliss. Doesn't seem like he's getting Austin Simmons either. Arizona State loading up with Cutter Boley. That's an interesting one. Nobody watched Kentucky football this year. I know you didn't either, Steven.
I'm surprised he transferred because he was a hometown guy. Like, I thought he would stick around. But, yeah, I watched Kentucky football down the stretch. He won 3 games. He looked good, but he's a true freshman, or he was. So
he's a redshirt freshman, I think.
Either way, we'll see. Who's Georgia Tech going to get? They need a quarterback.
They do need a quarterback. We'll see. But some in Kentucky flipping Kenny Minchie, who was committed to Nebraska and now going to Kentucky with Will Stein. And this is part of it. Like, did Will Stein want Cutter Boley?
No.
Maybe not. I mean, you said a hometown kid. You think Kentucky didn't want to keep him, or you think Kentucky couldn't keep him if they wanted to keep him?
How about Rocco Becht going to Penn State?
Going to Penn State, following his coach.
I mean, are you excited about that, Penn State? Like, is this the next Trace McSorley? Like, are you hoping this is like the gritty, just guy who gets wins, but he doesn't look great getting off the bus? Oh, no, I know he's a winner. You
just had the guy that looked great getting off the bus.
Yes, you did.
Looked like $1 billion getting off the bus. I came on this here program and said that this guy has the potential to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I mean,
that's
you weren't alone.
Exposed.
You weren't alone. Like, I didn't make a montage with that sound. I guess I could go back and dig it out from August.
There's so much wrong that is said on this show from me that you could make a montage that's an hour and a half.
Listen,
but like Ethan Grunkemeyer going over to Virginia Tech from Penn State, following James Franklin. Like, these are with recruiting. With recruiting, like, I did take the approach, and I do take the approach of, like, let's wait and see. Some of these guys are going to be great. Jeremiah Smith comes out. Yes, certainly. Where's he going? Need to know who he is. A lot of these guys, we'll see. I'll catch them on their second school.
Right.
The portal is now what like studying up on retention used to be.
It's like what signing day used to be?
No, not even that. Signing day was great, but like you had to wait 2 years to see the returns on it.
Yeah, you could still celebrate. You could still celebrate when the facts came in. Like, that was still a big deal when you landed a guy.
Sure. But like the quarterback market in particular with the movement, that is big enough to have a conversation about, because the movement at quarterback in particular, and some of the high-end guys that we've seen perform, Cam Coleman when he commits, Jeremiah Smith, there is a lot of buzz about Jeremiah Smith. And his desire to be at Miami. I think it is well known that he would love to be at Miami. Does that mean he's going to leave Ohio State? Not necessarily. But, like, Miami thinks they've got a chance to get him home. You saw him dapping up all them dudes after the game?
Yes.
All of them. Because they all know each other. He's a legend down there. Can you imagine him and Malachi Toney? And I think, if I'm Jeremiah Smith, if Miami gets a big-time quarterback, you have an opportunity to go home? Dude, he will be celebrated like a freaking war hero coming back to Miami.
See, this is where I log off, though. Like, I hear, like, yes, this is message board talk. Like, this is like
that part of it is. That part of it is.
This is yeah. I mean, look, I think it's great. Like, I love it, but I just like Roddy. I'm literally going to be doing a college basketball show next week on this here program. Like, I just can't. I can't do the year-round college football roster talk. We still got coordinators on the move, bro. Clemson got Chad Morris. He's back.
Yeah, the court. Like, okay, sure, the coordinators. I'm talking about movement, high-level movement in college football. And to dismiss it.
I'm not dismissing it.
You are dismissing it. I don't have time. Like, dude, Brendan Sorsby to Texas Tech is massive. Josh Hoover to Indiana is massive. Whoever Miami gets, massive. Ashton Daniels going to Florida State. Mike Norvell is hanging his future on Ashton Daniels, who got run out of Stanford.
It's a shame that Tripp's not here to give us his takes on that move. You're right. I saw that and I was like, interesting.
Sam Levitt, like, all 4 quarterbacks that are in the playoff still are transfers. 3 of them are first-year transfers.
I hear you.
Again, to dismiss it.
I'm not dismissing it, Roddy. You traffic in college football year-round. You traffic in college football year-round, and you are very good at it, okay? There is a point at which, like, I'm kind of exhausted with college football, man. Like, we still got 13 more days, bro.
Like, I'm not about that life.
No, I'm not.
It's like a marathoner at mile 25 saying I'm kind of exhausted with the marathon.
I've done a marathon. I will never do. I will never do another one. I did one. Strong. I will never do another one. Ever. I wasn't sprinting, bro. I was literally asking strangers for Advil. I was like, "Hey,
I bet you were.
Do you have any ibuprofen in your house? Because my leg feels like it's gonna fall off. I need something."
That's a you thing.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But there's some very interesting happenings still to come in the transfer portal. Watch out for some of these lower level guys who are transferring up at programs, because they're the guys that you're going to be talking about next year. So
I agree, and you know, I'll usually tap into that around June when I start prepping for media days, and I'm like, oh,
you're
damn.
You're going to be calling me saying, oh, Dylan Lonergan's at Rutgers. Tell me about Dylan Lonergan again.
Listen, Roddy,
this is why you do it.
Here's the nice part is you don't have to. The nice part in your world is that you don't have to worry about Big Ten teams until December of 2026. You feel me? Because you ain't got to cover any of them. You know, that's the beauty of what you do specifically.
No, this chance week 1 we'll have one, but then we won't see them again.
Yes,
we got kicked out of the college football playoff, so I can't even say that anymore.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Look, I am an internal locus of control type person. What could I have done better? That's how I mean, that's a healthy
mindset to have, but I'm just telling you that's not your fault. I need Rodstradamus to look into the crystal ball. If there's any picks that you feel good about, we don't have to force it. But we do have semifinals coming up on Thursday and Friday. So on our way out the door, I tried to let you go early, but you just want to keep going, talking transfer portal, for God's sakes.
Well, look, it's the lifeblood of the sport, more so than recruiting ever was.
Yes, it is.
It'll have a direct impact next year on who's good and who's not.
Listen, what were we? 3 years ago, I remember when Georgia Tech got Haynes King in the portal, and I remember being like, don't hate it. Don't hate it.
The whole thing was, can he stay healthy?
Yeah, it's still can he stay healthy? When healthy, he's a problem. Yes, agreed.
Absolutely.
So we'll see who Georgia Tech tabs to be the next guy since Philo's headed to Gainesville. All right, semifinal.
Dude, that is
predictions.
One,
yes, it is.
How do you feel about it? How are your people feeling about it?
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that JMU has hired Florida's failed former head coach to take over a CFP program. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that one. Okay. And yes, I was on the message boards, and I saw DJ Lagway to JMU. I seen it. Okay? I seen it. I don't know if I want that either. CFP semifinal predictions, Roddy. Come on. Give me some dubs. Give me some winners.
If DJ Lagway said he was going to be the quarterback at JMU, you'd pshaw it? You'd be like, yeah, I don't know.
No, it was more about I don't know how I feel about people posting that. Like, if DJ Lagway went to Harrisonburg, bro, I'd probably buy season tickets. I'd probably leave here and then start a JMU football podcast and then just do that year-round, just traffic in JMU football talk.
Madison.
There's a few out there, and they do a very good job.
schedule. Who do they play next year?
They're at Virginia Tech in September. And let me tell you something right now. Been there, done that. Watch out, James Franklin. Watch out. Be careful.
Bro, get out of here.
Be careful. What do you mean, what do you mean get out of here? Bro, they went to UVA 2 years ago. Went to Charlottesville. Beat them. I
did that game.
They went to North Carolina 2 years ago. Beat them. I'm going on the road in the ACC ain't no thing. It ain't no thing. I'm just saying, bro. James Franklin, watch out, son.
Conveniently forgot that the only top 50 team that they played last year was on the road at Louisville.
Led in the third quarter, bro. Led in the third quarter. Covered the spread. That's the most you and I have ever texted in a given day. Was when Louisville and JMU were coming down to the wire in the fourth quarter, and Roddy was just poking me, bro. Just would not let it go.
I could see it coming. That was the point of my text. JMU.
Isaac Brown's about to bust one. Isaac Brown's about to bust one. Here it comes. Here it comes. There it goes. Told you so.
Chris Bell. Told you so. But the thing that I really texted you about initially was them shuffling them damn quarterbacks, and I told you it was going to cost them, and it did.
Okay, Rodstra.
Luka, get out of here.
Okay, Rodstra.
Unbelievable. See that one coming from a mile away.
Thank you. Alonzo Barnett in the portal. Just saying, he's out there.
He's committed to UCF.
Is that confirmed? Good for him.
He's going to UCF.
Thanks for the memories, Alonzo.
It's not going to UCLA because Bob Chesney says we got a guy that's better.
Who?
Nico.
You know what? Oh, Nico's staying. Good for him. There will be UCLA football discussion on Wednesday.
Nico said he was staying like a month ago, bro.
Good for him, man. I'm happy for him. Where are you at? Listen, again, this is Roddy. You do a very good job of trafficking in the college football world 365 days a year. Yep. And that's why you're here, frankly, to be the voice of reason, to be the expert, if you will, except when it comes to predicting Rose Bowl outcomes.
Yeah, just my one.
That's your one blind spot is when it comes to Indiana football.
Bro, a little bit less on the college basketball from you, a little bit more focus on this football thing. Telling you.
Okay. We do a very good job in the basketball space. Me and Norlander, that's my guy. Can you name? Do you know who the number one team is in college basketball right now?
Yes, golly.
Don't look it up. Don't look at that other screen. Don't look me dead in my eyes. Tell me who the number one team is in college basketball. I'll settle for number 2.
Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second to think. Who would be number 1 right now? Purdue.
Wrong.
Dang. Are they top 10?
I don't know.
Okay, hold on. Arizona?
Arizona's number 1. They are undefeated. Yeah. Who's number 2?
Come on, bro. You're asking me to go down the top 10?
Give me the other undefeated team at the top of the polls.
Oh, there's another undefeated team.
Yes, there is. From a Power 4 school or Power 4 conference.
Nebraska's undefeated still, right?
That is correct, but they're not ranked number 2.
Okay, so I got the question right. Name the undefeated team from a Power conference, but I didn't get the number 2 team. Houston?
No, Houston's they're 13-1. They're ranked 7th.
Oh, shame on me. All right, who is it?
Michigan. Michigan's
Dusty May.
Undefeated.
Good for Dusty May.
There you go.
I should know that. I was talking to Michigan people about
they love you in Ames. Iowa State ranked number 3. They're 14-0. And then you got Nebraska and Vanderbilt, also undefeated, ranked 10th and 11th, respectively. See, this is the type of, it's okay to be well-rounded. It's okay to just check in on the hardwood every now and then. That's all I'm saying.
Love the hardwood. Growth opportunities for me in the hardwood, limited. So career-wise, I choose to focus on the hypo area.
Get your Gonzaga takes polished and ready to go. They're 16-1. They're in the top 10, and they will go out in the round of 32.
Fraud.
Yeah, I know.
64. Jeez.
Unbelievable.
Fraud.
All right. Do you want to make Rodstradamus picks? Oh, you don't have to. All right. Trying to get you out of here, man, because you said you had somewhere you needed to be. I'm trying to get you there on time.
All right. Let's go. I'll go the under in the Miami Ole Miss game.
It's 52.5.
Yep. I'll take the under in that game. And look, we're going to ride this thing. Give me Miami minus the points.
Okay. Miami a favorite for the first time in the CFP. Minus the 3.
Minus the 3. In the other game, I don't know how you can pick against Indiana, so let's go Indiana minus.
Finally starting to come around, huh? Almost like you learned something last week.
I didn't pick Indiana last week?
No, you picked Alabama plus the 7.
Oh, I did think
I gave you Indiana minus 21 on the alternate line, which people have been asking on social media. That paid about 3.5 to 1 if you were into that sort of thing.
Yeah. Thank you for the people that are listening on social media to our listeners. Appreciate you guys. Even the ones that argue with me, saying that I would.
Oh yeah, you did catch some strays. Yeah, people were coming after you, Roddy.
No, there's one guy who's coming out. Thank you for listening, first and foremost. But yeah, I think there's a little misrepresentation of what I said.
It happens. Listen, when you talk so much, people are going to hear what they want to hear. That's just how it works. Any interest in the over/under on the Peach Bowl, Oregon, Indiana? It's 46.5.
It's a low number. I would lean the over, personally.
Is that an official Rodstradamus play or just a lean?
Let's go with it. Let's go.
Let's go. Love it. Shots will be fired in Atlanta at the Peach Bowl. Indiana, Oregon, over 46.5. All right, folks, that's the show. Wayne Cook is coming at you on Wednesday. Felder will be here at some point later in the week. I'm trying to nail it down with him. He's got some PTA meetings.
Is he going to go pre the games, or is he going to go in between?
No. We're previewing games. We're not. No. Thursday, Friday. We got to get this stuff out. We people want the content. We got to give them the content. So that's coming. And yes, next week, Matt Norlander makes his return to the show. We'll be talking basketball.
Hoops.
I will pretend.
And let me know if you want my takes on basketball.
I will pretend like I've been watching college basketball. I haven't, but I can ask really good questions and tee up
career move for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Focusing on college football.
Thank you for listening to the show. Tripp Hurd, if you're still listening an hour and 40 minutes in, feel better, buddy. Okay, stomach bug ain't fun. Stay at home. Do not bring that shit into the office, okay? I do not want to get sick.
Man, get better, dude, but like, come on, man. We all play hurt. Let's go. Fire that thing up. Fire that thing up, Tripp. You can't get the microphone sick. Football season, man. I don't want to hear no excuses.
Feel better, buddy.
Take care of that immune system, bro.
Yeah. Get a little exercise, maybe some fruits and vegetables. Can't hurt. That's all I'm saying.
Get them vitamins. Multivitamin. I'll shoot your mind.
Hey, safe travels, buddy. Enjoy the desert. Okay.
We got a lot of travel going. We are taking some trips. Taking in both semifinals, which will be fun. It'll be I don't know if I'll be on the sideline for both, but I'll definitely be on the sideline for the Fiesta.
There you go. Roddy Jones coming to a TV set near you on Thursday and Friday.
Need some sleep is what I'm going to need.